Hello everybody and welcome to this presentation on sex chromosomal abnormalities. First, before we go into that, let's look at gender identity versus sexual orientation. So when you look at gender identity, it is more of a personal determination of masculine or female, and they have quite a bit of definitions and labels when it comes to this. The top 6 usually are gay, lesbian, transsexual, bisexual, pansexual, and non-binary. Now, compared to sexual orientation, that seems like a lot of information, right? So when we look at sexual orientation, it is more of a biological determination of male or female. So either you have the double X chromosome, meaning you're female, or you have the XY chromosome, which means you're male. A lot simpler than when you're looking at gender identity and all the other distinguishing titles that go along with that. So that means sexual orientation is simple, right? Well, if I were to say yes, this would be a very short presentation, and you guys would probably be bored out of... So let's go ahead and look at 4 sexual chromosome abnormalities. I will say in the presentation, I'm only going to touch bases on the trisomial X and the Jacob syndrome, while we go more in depth with the Turner syndrome and the Klinefelter syndrome. So trisomy X, you are born female. 1 out of every 9,091 newborn females has this. So that's quite a rare type of abnormality. It has indistinguishable characteristics or symptoms. Let's go ahead and look at XYY Jacob syndrome. They are born male, and 1 out of 1,020 males are born with this abnormality. Like with the trisomy X, this has undistinguishable characteristics or symptoms as well. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. So we're looking at Turner syndrome. They are born female, and 1 per 1,695 newborn females have this abnormality. They have some symptoms of short-statured, characteristic facial appearances with neck webbing, lymphedema, and cardiac malformations. Now, the thing with Turner syndrome is it does have an infant mortality rate that is very high. In fact, after the age of 1 year, you are looking at 1 in 25-year study of 15 out of 159 people who died. Now, out of those who survived, there's a famous woman named Sarah Ramirez. If you know Grey's Anatomy, then you know who she is. She's an actress on that show, and she has been diagnosed with Turner syndrome. Now, again, with the Turner syndrome, it only has 1 chromosome. That's why it's usually written out as X0. And that's also why it's called the monsominy, and having just that 1 chromosome. Now, there are medical issues that come along with Turner syndrome, such as the endocrine system, nervous system, circulatory, respiration, digestive, musculoskeletal systems, and congenital malformations. So quite a bit going on within the Turner syndrome aspect of the chromosomal abnormality. And I added another picture too. This is Lydia Hunt. She's a great actress, but for most of you may know her from NCIS Los Angeles. She was one of the characters in that show. Now, we're going to go into Klinefelter syndrome, which is marked as XXY. They are born male, and 1 out of 658 has this abnormality. So as you can see, that is a much lower than the other ones that we've talked about. So not as rare. So they do have some distinguishing characteristics such as tall stature, small testes, enlargement of breast tissue, gonads overproduce hormones, and infertility. Now there is a high mortality rate, such as we discussed before, and it's 60%. And the average mean age of death is only 2.1 years. And just to add into that, I know we're talking about the average mean age of 2.1 years old, but you do have gentlemen who grow up even with this disorder, such as George Washington. He was said to have had this disorder as well. Now, more on the Klinefelter syndrome, we have the endocrine and metabolistic diseases such as diabetes. We have mental disorders, primarily alcohol and drug abuse with dementia. Then we have nervous system epilepsy, circulatory, which is pulmonary embolism, cerebrovascular disease, and subarachnoid hemorrhage. And also you have heart disease. And again, I shared a picture of Vincent Schiavelli, who was a great actor in the 80s, and he was said to have those as well. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have learned a little bit something new today.